warning before you listen. This epic is not for children, nor for the faint of heart. We retell the ancient Greek myths as they were born, unfiltered, unsoftened. Scenes of violence, curses, betrayals, and a hunger for power that shows no mercy. Given the many conflicting versions of the Titan War, the events have been rebuilt to complete the missing pieces. Here, we tell the myth as it was meant to be told. Sources and references are listed in the episode description.
Chapter 50. The Thronequakes. When Cronus struck the earth with his sickle, no one calls his name. He declares it himself, in the deepest corners of darkness within a fortress sculpted from cold shadow, in the crack between two moments of time. Cronus stirred. He opened his eyes, and time itself gasped. He reached out, and the void shuddered. His fingers closed around the sickle, the same blade that split history, the same blade Gaia forged with her bare hands, the same blade that drank the blood of the sky. He ran his fingers along its edge, as if wiping clean an ancient slaughter that had never truly dried. And then he whispered, but it wasn't a whisper. It was a command to existence. It is time. Rise with me, my sickle. It is time to return. He raised the blade, then drove it into the earth, and in a moment that couldn't be measured, the world convulsed. Yes, the world convulsed. Time choked. The pulse of hours lost its rhythm. Hearts trembled before the mountains did. The sky tore open above the battlefield. Mountains cracked without being touched. The sea curled in upon itself, as if trying to flee from something that cannot sail. Time broke. And across the world, creatures awoke from their sleep, not out of fear of an enemy, but because something, somewhere, had said, enough. And then Cronus screamed, not a sound for ears, but a cry that bleeds into roots. I am Cronus. I am the god, the tyrant, the one who cut the sky and hung the sun from my father's corpse. I am the first murderer, the crime that made thrones tremble. I began death, and now I bring it back. His words weren't sound, they were earthquakes. An earthquake in the sky, where Zeus, from afar, saw his lightning tremble. The bolts in his hand froze. He spoke, barely audible to the wind itself. That is what my mother feared I'd one day see. He has returned, the first tyrant, Cronus. Does he now fill the sky? In the depths of the sea, Poseidon felt his trident go still. He no longer knew if he stood in water or in a nightmare of dread. He whispered to the waves, "It's him, the thief of time, the one who drank the light of the first father. Cronus has come to swallow those who escaped him." A soldier cried out, "The waves! They've stopped! Nothing moves, as if the sea itself is choking." And on land, the 100-handed giants froze, their eyes lifted toward the sky, as if scenting blood in the air. One spoke, his voice like a tombstone's breath. "That shadow, we know it." Another answered, "That's no king. That's the one who buried us for centuries, the beast who tore the heavens. Has Cronus moved, the father of the first crime?" Then, from the fortress of shadow, his voice returned, sharper, crueler, unstoppable. "Sons of the traitorous whore, I was merciful when I swallowed you as infants. Today, I'll devour you fully grown. Your escape from my gut was not salvation. It was a delay. And now, the end begins." Far away, in a cave where lightning was once hidden in her womb, Rhea collapsed to her knees. She pressed her hand to the cold stone wall, as if touching her past. Her voice shook. He has spoken. The beast who cut the sky.
the monster I feared from my first tear. Oh gods, I wish I'd never birthed. I wish I had hidden no one.
He has returned, and this is what I feared most. Cronus had not appeared, but everyone saw him. They saw him in the stillness of the sea, in the trembling of mountains, in the scream of light. They saw him stretch across the horizon, his shadow becoming the sky, his voice becoming the earth. And then he screamed. One last cry that filled every living creature and every stone. I am Cronus, and I will slice this time as I once sliced the sky. In the deep, in a place that might be stone or a chest of earth, Gaia's heart trembled. Yes, Gaia, Mother Earth, the one who does not quake, does not kneel, does not cry, stopped. She placed a hand over her unseen breast and whispered, as if her voice rose from a scream murdered ages ago. That's him, the one who split the sky with the sickle I forged with my own hands. He never asked for a weapon. He asked for an end. She remembered the blood. She remembered the first blade. She remembered how even the sky itself quivered when that sickle plunged into its heart. And she said, trembling, I wish I'd never forged it. I wish I'd never birthed him. This son, this monster, is not born from my womb, but from the silence of all worlds. And on the other fronts, as the voice fell from the heavens and they watched time writhe, the leaders of the Titans looked up. Perses, Thaumas, Hyperion, Atlas, Erebus, Coeus, all of them stopped. No one spoke until Perses whispered, that voice doesn't belong to anyone. Thaumas, staring at the burning horizon, replied, That's not a scream. That's the sickle speaking. Another murmured, I swear I felt the same tremor I felt when the sky first bled. At the edge of the skyfront, Hyperion stood still and said, He was never one of us, not a Titan, but the first crime, and the final reckoning. And across every battlefield, those who had been fighting stopped because they all saw Cronus. Not with their eyes, but with their terror. They saw the sickle, not as a weapon, but as a crime that had never been forgiven. They heard him not as a call to war, but as a fate that could not be undone. And in that moment, no one fought, no one smiled, everyone only looked. Because the shadow that returned was not the shadow of a father, but the shadow of an ending long delayed. And then came the sound, the sickle dragging across the earth, a tremor like the weeping of time itself, and one final cry from earth, sky, and sea alike. Cronus has risen. This chapter of the epic has come to an end, but remember, what you've just heard is not a record of facts, but the echo of a myth. A story born from the imagination of the ancients, etched into the long memory of humankind. If this tale stirred something in you, if it opened a door to reflection or wonder, don't forget to support the channel and share the journey with those you love. And in the comments, tell us which moment in this chapter struck you the most and why. We'll meet again in the next chapter of this audio odyssey through time. Until then, farewell.